In 2000, an American scientist working for the military tells his Korean assistant to dump about 200 bottles of toxic chemicals down the drain without caring about the damage it could do to the local river. Over the years, people start noticing strange things in the river. Two fishermen catch a weird-looking fish in a cup. It appears mutated, and when one of them tries to touch it, the fish reacts, causing him to drop the cup, and the fish swims away quickly. 2006, at a bridge, a businessman about to take his own life sees something big and dark moving under the water before he jumps. Meanwhile, a man named Gang-do is sleeping in his father's snack stall by the river. A homeless boy named Si-ju tries to steal food, but his older brother Si-jin pulls him away. Gang-do's father, Hee-bong, wakes him up and tells him to get back to work. Around this time, Gang-do sees his daughter, Hyun-seo, returning from school. She's upset because instead of attending a parent-teacher meeting himself, Gang-do sent her drunk uncle. He's also been avoiding her dad's calls because her phone is very old and she's embarrassed to use it in public. Gang-do and Hyun-seo rush into the stall where Gang-do keeps a box of money he's been saving to buy her a new phone. While watching TV, they see a news report about a body found in the Han River, but they change the channel to watch Gang-do's sister, Nam-ju, competing in archery tournament. So they are interrupted when Hee-bong sends Gang-do out to give free snacks to some customers. Gang-do finds these people staring at a strange thing hanging under a bridge. Suddenly it moves, revealing itself to be a large monster that jumps into the river. So out of curiosity, Gang-do throws a beer can into the water, and the creature catches it with its tentacle and eats it. The crowd, excited, starts throwing more food into the water, but the creature disappears. As the people are about to leave, the monster reappears, jumping out of the water and attacking the crowd, tossing people around and killing them with its limbs. Panic breaks out as everyone tries to escape, but the creature continues rampaging, stomping on people and dragging them across the ground. Some people hide inside a container, and the monster follows them, getting stuck for a moment. Gang-do and a tourist named Donald help a few survivors escape by opening the container door, but the monster follows them out. Donald tries throwing a floor tile at it, but it doesn't affect the creature. He and Gang-do then lift a heavy signpost and throw it at the monster, but it still doesn't do much damage. So the creature grabs someone in its jaws, and after it attacks Donald, Gang-do runs away. He finds the signpost again and manages to hit the monster's tail, finally injuring it slightly. Some of the monster's blood splashes on Gang-do before he runs away again. So when Hyun-seo leaves the snack stall, Gang-do grabs her hand and they run with the panicked crowd. Chaos ensues and many people fall. Gang-do stumbles and loses hold of Hyun-seo's hand. In the confusion, he grabs the wrong person's hand and keeps running, only to realize it's the wrong teenager. Horrified, he turns around just in time to see the creature grab Hyun-seo and take her away as it leaps back into the river. Gang-do jumps into the water too, but can only watch as the creature swims away, replacing a body it was holding with Hyun-seo. Soon after, the police and military arrive, sealing off the area. Gang-do and his father are forced to leave their snack stall, and Gang-do takes the box of coins with him. The area around the river is closed off, and a mass funeral is held for the victims. Nam-ju, Gang-do's sister, arrives with her bronze medal from the archery tournament and mourns the loss of her niece. Their other sibling, Nam-il, also joins them. He's the only one in the family with a college education, but is currently unemployed due to his past as an activist. The family breaks down emotionally in front of the media, and reporters begin taking pictures and videos of them. Nam-il criticizes Gang-do for grabbing the wrong hand, leading to an argument that the authorities must break up. Suddenly, men in hazmat suits appear as a strange gas fills the room. An agent informs everyone that buses are ready to take them away and asks if anyone encountered the creature. Gang-do admits that some of the creature's blood got on his face, which leads the hazmat team to put him into a special bag and take him away. The news finally covers the incident. Donald, a U.S. Army sergeant who lost an arm, is sent to a military hospital. The doctors notice that the parts of his body that touch the creature are reacting strangely, which they think is caused by an unknown virus. The army sends a sample to the CDC, which confirms that the creature from the river is the host of the virus. Only special forces trained in biological warfare are now allowed near the river, and fumigation teams are working to clean the area with smoke. Everyone who was at the incident and the funeral is taken to the hospital for quarantine and testing. That evening, Gang-do scratches his back when his phone suddenly rings. He's shocked to hear his daughter Hyun-seo's voice asking for help. She says she's in the sewers, but the call cuts off before she can explain more. At the river, two fumigation agents stop their truck when they notice something. Out of nowhere, the monster appears, knocks down one agent, and jumps on top of the truck. A few minutes later, the creature drags the men into a sewer where it keeps bodies to eat later. After the monster leaves, Hyun-seo crawls out from her hiding spot in the wall. She tries to wake one of the agents, but he's dead. She also looks for a phone in his pocket, but it doesn't work. So meanwhile, at the hospital, Gang-do and his family try to convince a cop that Hyun-seo is alive. The cop doesn't believe them and thinks Gang-do imagined the phone call. Gang-do tries to prove he's telling the truth by explaining how he saw the creature vomit out a body, meaning his daughter could still be alive. The cop dismisses him and walks away, even after Hee-bong tries to bribe him. Soon after, the family sneaks out of the hospital, blending in with the other patients. A nurse notices Gang-do's dyed hair and calls him out, so the family runs through the corridor, pushing people aside. In the elevator, they quickly change their clothes, and Hee-bong confirms their ride over the phone. They make it to the parking lot, where a mysterious driver picks them up in a van, and so Nam-ju nearly gets left behind, but the driver turns around to pick her up while dodging the people chasing after them. When a cop tries to jump into the van, Gang-do pushes him out. The group finally arrives at a warehouse outside town, where it's revealed that Hee-bong hired some criminals to help them escape and gather things to help them find Hyun-seo. The criminals charge them a much higher price than expected and refuse Hee-bong's jewelry as payment, so they take all his credit cards instead. Inside the van, the siblings watch the news and see that they're now wanted fugitives, so the family drives off in a fumigation truck provided by the criminals, equipped with 2 hazmat suits, a few weapons, and a map of the sewers. Gang-do and Hee-bong wear the suits while Nam-il and Nam-ju hide under a blanket. At a security checkpoint, the manager notices that the fumigation truck is suspicious because it belongs to a company that signed up at the last minute. Hee-bong throws a bag at the manager to bribe him, and the man finds a box of coins inside. Afterward, the family follows the map to the sewers, desperately searching for Hyun-seo, and sometimes Gang-do runs behind the truck to be fumigated because he wants to be clean for his daughter. After hours of searching, they notice something moving in the dark. Nam-ju feels something wet on her shoulder, so they open fire, but it turns out to fire from a leak. While Hyun-seo is trying to collect water from a small leak, she hears the monster approaching. She quickly pretends to be unconscious, watching as the creature drops 2 brothers before leaving. So when she checks on them, she finds that Si-jin is dead, but Si-ju is still alive. Determined to protect him, Hyun-seo hides him from the monster's view. Meanwhile, Nam-ju and Nam-il mock Gang-do for falling asleep again. Hee-bong, tired of hearing his children criticize him, explains Gang-do's past. He shares that Gang-do was a bright child, but Hee-bong was often absent, staying out late. Gang-do had to scavenge for food from nearby farms, which wasn't enough for him to grow properly. As a result, Gang-do became slow-minded and developed a condition where he sometimes falls asleep randomly. At that moment, Gang-do wakes up and realizes the monster is right outside. Hee-bong starts shooting at the creature, which enrages it. The monster charges at their stall, knocking it over. Hee-bong fires again, hitting the monster and causing it to fall, but it's still alive. Nam-il takes a shot at it as well, but the monster quickly retreats, climbing onto a nearby bridge and causing a traffic accident. As it hides under the bridge, the family continues firing at it until they run out of bullets. The monster escapes into the water, and soon after, the family notices soldiers approaching. They begin to run, but Gang-do mentions he has 1 bullet left. Hee-bong takes the gun and tells his children to run to the truck while he handles the situation. However, when the monster reappears, Hee-bong finds that Gang-do miscounted and there are no bullets left. The monster grabs Hee-bong with its tentacle, slamming him to the ground and killing him instantly. The siblings cry for their father, but they are interrupted by the arrival of the authorities. While Nam-il pulls Nam-ju away, Gang-do turns himself in out of guilt. Later, the news reports the death of Donald due to a virus. The CDC announces they will deploy Agent Yellow, a chemical system created by the US to combat viral outbreaks and biological threats. However, many citizens consider this unsafe and prepare to protest. News outlets also mention that the virus has symptoms like the common cold, causing people on the streets to avoid anyone coughing or sneezing. During this time, Nam-il meets his old activist friend, Fat Guevara. Guevara sneaks Nam-il into his office after hours because he works at a phone company and can help track Hyun-seo's call. So they find the call record on the computer but need a password to access the GPS. Guevara suspiciously keeps asking about Nam-ju, so Nam-il explains they got separated in the sewers and he doesn't know where she is. When the password they tried doesn't work, Guevara offers to check the manager's office. However, Guevara is lying and he and his friends are waiting to capture Nam-il for a reward. While searching, Nam-il finds another password note and successfully logs in, discovering that Hyun-seo is near the Wonhyo Bridge. After marking the location on a map, he realizes the people in the office are after him, so he creates a short circuit by putting a clip into an outlet, plunging the room into darkness. While everyone is distracted, Nam-il escapes. Outside, he hears the police coming and jumps off the bridge to avoid them. He lands hard and passes out under the bridge after texting Hyun-seo's location to Nam-ju. Meanwhile, continues her search for Hyun-seo. She has been hiding in the beams of the bridge, sneaking through the water to avoid being seen and taking food from the family store. After charging her phone, she sees Nam-il's message and immediately heads to the Wonhyo Bridge, calling Gang-do to share the information. Unfortunately, the monster finds Nam-ju before she can shoot her bow. It strikes her, causing her to fall into a narrow sewer, knocking her unconscious. The monster can't reach her in the small space, so it leaves. Meanwhile, in the lab, Gang-do's hope is reignited. He tries to escape the room, but the medical team quickly overpowers him and injects him with a sedative. However, even after an hour, he doesn't pass out. The doctors decide to take a sample from him anyway, and Gang-do screams in pain as they insert the needle. His cries catch the attention of an American doctor, who tells the others to stop. With the help of a medic who speaks both languages, Gang-do explains that his daughter is in danger and no one is listening to him. The American doctor seems like he cares at first, asking questions, but it turns out he's just testing Gang-do's mental state. Believing that Gang-do is suffering from dementia caused by a virus, the doctor says they need to take a sample from Gang-do's brain. A Korean doctor thinks that's going too far, but the American pulls him aside and tells him the truth: there's no virus. Donald died from shock during surgery, and the autopsy found no virus. The tests on the quarantined people also came back negative. Gang-do, understanding the basic phrase "no virus," demands an explanation, but the doctors take him to the operating room to extract a sample from his brain anyway. In the sewers, Hyun-soo uses clothing from dead bodies and a police baton to tie together a rope. With Si-ju's help, she throws it up toward the sewer grate, but it's still out of her reach. The monster suddenly returns, and the kids hide in a small hole. They watch as the creature vomits up human bones in a beer can, then eats another person. Hearing the kids, the monster sticks its mouth into the hole, but they back away until they're out of reach. After the surgery, Gang-do pretends to be numb. When a nurse comes to take a blood sample, he quickly grabs her and uses the needle as a weapon. He threatens to spray the doctors with his blood, which they believe is infected with the virus, so they back off. Gang-do manages to escape using the nurse as a shield. Outside, soldiers are taking a lunch break near the lab, which is in a container outside of town. Gang-do kicks over their tables and escapes by stealing an ambulance. Under the bridge, Namil wakes up and realizes a homeless man saved him. He asks for directions to the Wonhoyo Bridge and takes the man's empty beer bottles, offering money in exchange. The man smashes a bottle over Namil's head, telling him money can't solve everything, but still agrees to guide him. They take a taxi, and on the way they make Molotov cocktails using the empty bottles. Meanwhile, people gather in the streets to protest Agent Yellow, a chemical that's going to be released at the Wonhoyo Bridge. So back in the sewers, Hyun-soo sees that the monster is asleep. She throws a can to make sure it doesn't react. Then she runs, jumping onto its body to reach the rope. She grabs hold of it, but her relief is short-lived. The monster instinctively grabs her with its tentacle, though it still seems to be asleep. As Si-ju wets himself in fear, Hyun-soo tries not to move too much, but she accidentally wakes the creature. It lunges at them before they can make it back to their hiding spot. Minutes later, Gang-do finally finds the correct sewer and is horrified by all the bones scattered around. Fearing the worst, he climbs down Hyun-soo's makeshift rope and finds her jacket with her name tag on it. Just then, the monster appears, but it doesn't notice Gang-do and moves along. Meanwhile, Namju regains consciousness and climbs out of the sewer, spotting the creature approaching. She readies her bow to shoot, but Gang-do's panicked behavior distracts her. On the shore, a large crowd is protesting Agent Yellow, wearing shirts that demand freedom for Gang-do. The protesters are surrounded by police, refusing to leave, but chaos breaks out as the monster approaches. The police start shooting, and Gang-do appears on a bridge, pleading with them to stop because of his daughter's body. He jumps into the water just as a drone releases Agent Yellow, spreading toxic fumes that make the protesters severely ill. The monster also starts to weaken, and as a cop attempts to shoot it, Gang-do stops him. The creature is thrashing in pain, so Gang-do seizes the moment to reach into its mouth. He pulls out a human hand and rescues two kids, sadly discovering they are already dead, so the drone continues spraying Agent Yellow, and masked agents record the scene while the fumes make everyone, including the police, so the three siblings gather around Hyun-seo's body, crying in grief. Overcome with rage, Gang-do breaks a sign and uses the pole to attack the creature, injuring it before being pushed away. Namil then starts throwing his Molotov bombs, forcing the monster to flee from the fire. The creature runs under a bridge, where a homeless man pours gasoline on it. Namil tries to throw his last bomb, but it slips from his hand and shatters nearby. At that moment, Namju steps in, lighting an arrow on fire and shooting it straight into the monster's eye, setting its entire body ablaze. So before the creature can escape into the water, Gang-do uses the pole to stab it in the mouth, finally killing it. Afterward, Gang-do checks on Si-ju, wondering if he was a friend of his daughter. To his surprise, Si-ju is alive, and Gang-do carries him away from the toxic fumes. So weeks later, Gang-do has cleaned up his life and now runs the snack stall while caring for Si-ju. One evening, as they have dinner, the US authorities come on TV, admitting there was no virus, but Gang-do and Si-ju turn it off, choosing to eat in peace. Subscribe for popcorn. We are racing towards 500 subscribers.